Welcome back to Castpergers. It's been a while, and today I'm joined with an amazing guest, Cody Hofstatter, the head MMA coach of 10th Planet Austin. How's it going, Cody?
Good. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, I've been training with you for like a year and a half now. Been talking about doing a pod with you for a while. We're finally doing it.
Yeah, and it's at a good time too. We just had a bunch of wins. It seems like the team's gaining momentum. You're getting ready for a match this weekend. I might actually be on that same card because a bunch of people are pulling out and getting injured and stuff. So, yeah, we got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, dude. This weekend was amazing. We had Dallas Dodd and Christian Ammons fight, and both of them won. We had like 40 people from the gym around there. It was like a huge chunk of the gym was there to support.
And it was the first time. It was the first time we fought locally. The closest we had fought before then was Houston. And I hate Houston. Like, I wouldn't go there if it wasn't my job. So it was cool to do it in San Antonio, and it was cool to be the home team. You know, I have a bunch of friends in San Antonio. Amber and Angel, Austin, Chimaev. We got a bunch of teammates from San Antonio, so it's kind of hometown.
Yeah. Yeah, and then after, Amber was like, hey, you guys can all come to the strip club I manage and get free entry and free drinks. And I'm like, what? That sounds dangerous. And that was a blast, man.
That was so much fun. I just, man, those strippers were rough, man. They need to change the name from Perfect 10 to like Solid 4.
Yeah.
It was,
yeah, they were all beat and it seemed like they were on drugs.
Yeah, all of them were overweight, and I guess they ate too many churros or something, but it's expected for San Antonio. You got some gorditas over there.
Yeah, and they legally had to like have some sort of covering on their nipples, so they had paint on them, but in the light it just looked like they were severely deformed boobs. Did you notice that?
Yeah, I like to imagine that they were dipping their boobs in mud to hide from predators.
Yeah, and the food was great.
Amazing.
The strip club food's usually good for some reason.
I've always had great food at strip clubs. I think it's because like happy chefs make the best food. You're around titties all day, and you know what could be better?
Yeah, that's probably why Tiger Woods' career's in the shitter now, because he's not banging hookers anymore.
Maybe I gotta bang more hookers.
I think we all do. I think hookers should be prescribed medically. At least hand jobs.
I really liked having the whole team in one place. It's rare that we can get so many people together and celebrating. Man, it was such an amazing time. It was a lot of fun. Glad you were there. For how many people were there could have been so many more. Like, so many more people didn't go.
Yeah. Yeah, I love seeing the team fight. Every time's been a blast. And I usually don't go because I've had other things going on. And the Texarkana drives fucking kill me.
Yeah, fuck Arkansas. I never want to go back there, man.
Yeah, we done with Peak?
If they come to Texas, we can fight. We can fight for them, and we have a whole bunch of their belts, and I'd be down to defend them. But there's so many people who want us to fight on local cards that it's costs us to go fight for them, and they're not sweetening the pot. They're not making it worth our while, and yeah, there's no reason for it. I like Peak, and I appreciate that we fought for him so much, and you know it was a great starting point for the gym. But we're having like 2 or 3 organizations pop up in South Texas, Melee in Austin. I think like Elevation starting, and they're gonna have shows in like Houston and Austin and San Antonio. And yeah, I'd rather fight in Texas. I love Texas. Arkansas sucks.
Yeah.
On Dallas's opponent is gonna join the gym.
Oh, really?
After he put a whooping on that guy. I guess he talked to him, and yeah, he's gonna come and join the gym. And shout out to Christian's opponent. I've never seen someone get kicked in the head so many times and keep coming forward. He was like a Terminator. He'd get like clocked, and he'd do this weird blinky thing and just shake it off and come back forward.
Yeah, Christian was throwing those head kicks.
Yeah, he was wrapping around the neck, hitting with the heel. That guy ate like at least 10 like full contact head kicks and just shook it off.
And it's so fucking cool seeing these guys do this stuff in the gym, and like I go up against Dallas and then bring that into the ring and demolish their opponents. And with the skills that you've taught us, and you're right there. And I remember I kept getting really into it. I start yelling, and then I'm like, okay, I need to shut the fuck up so they can hear Cody.
It doesn't matter. I yell so fucking loud, like everyone can hear everything I say. So it really doesn't matter if you're yelling or cheering, or they'll hear me. And I like the next day, I always lose my voice. I'm like that when I'm talking, just because I yell so much. But yeah, I love it. And I talk a lot of shit to the opponents too. I remember game day's opponent threw like the dumbest spinning back kick at him ever. And I just laughed really loud. I was like, ha, ha, ha. And he looked at me with a really dirty look and didn't throw that spin kick again. It was garbage, though, man.
That's funny, the corner getting into his head. I like that.
Yeah. There's no stone left unturned. And there's so much more to fighting than two men exchanging blows. It's so much more than fisticuffs. There's tactics, there's strategies, there's mind games. I recently organized my system of MMA. Me and Shaka got together and we put everything together so that I could get it like recognized as a system. And part of the style is espionage. Part of the style is mind games, talking shit, and there's so many people who aren't doing that, and anything's fair game. Like any way I can get an edge over my opponent, I'll take it. I actually have a really funny story about Dakota Johnson, Christian's last opponent. We were staying at the same hotel as him, and Shaka put on this like super hick voice and called the front desk and was like, "Howdy, this is Dakota Johnson. I forgot my room number." And so he got the room number, and then like he hung up, and maybe like 5 or 10 minutes later, he called him back, the front desk, and he was like, "Hey, this is Dakota again. I need to schedule 3 a.m. wake-up calls today and tomorrow.
Fuck.
And I can't answer the phone. I'm a heavy sleeper, so I need someone to come knock on my door." And I don't know if they ever did or anything. I just assume it worked out. But
I didn't hear about this.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff people don't hear about. There's a lot of stuff that we do, and there's a reason why we win so much. There's no stone left unturned.
Yeah, and then Christian ended up winning and kicking his teeth through his tongue.
Yeah. Yeah,
He
and
was
it was
lisping at the end.
he was trying to like talk shit at the end, or I don't know what he was trying to say, but he sounded like Mushmouth from Fat Albert. He was like, blah, 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 blah. I loved it, man. It was he got what he deserved.
Yeah. So you've been doing martial arts for how long now?
Over 20 years. I started when I was about 14, 15. I used to sell drugs, and I fronted this guy some weed, and this was like, oh man, late 90s, early 2000s. So it was like dirt weed. Like I would get like ounces of this seedy bullshit for like 40 or $50. And yeah, I fronted this guy some weed, and he didn't pay me, and he was like, you gotta fight me. So I went to fight him, but he did karate, and he kicked the shit out of me. And after that, I was like, I gotta do karate. And so I started training, and it was for all the wrong reasons. But I never saw that guy again. I'd still like to fight him. Get my weed back.
You remember his name?
No.
Yeah, I still remember people that owe me like $5 to $20 from like 15 years ago.
If I saw him though, I'd recognize him.
Hey, remember me? Like, what? No, who the fuck are you? He probably doesn't remember that happened. When was the first time you like used martial arts like in real life, or one of the first times?
Well, I used to fight a lot, like in high school and stuff. So I would like beat up kids at school if they like talked shit or owed me money. Or, I was a bouncer for a while, and I would go. And I was probably a bouncer at like different clubs for like a decade, all through my 20s. And I would train all day. I'd go to like a Muay Thai gym, and I'd be training like head kicks all day. And then I'd go to the club, and I'm like, someone's going to get fucking head kicked today. Like whatever I was practicing in the gym, I would go use on civilians. And there's this thing with drunk people where everything's in slow motion. Like from their mind to their fist is a lag. So like you'll say something and they'll give you a look like, I'm gonna punch this guy. And then like they'll like draw back, and like the slowest, biggest punch will come. So I was always hopped up on energy drinks, because most clubs, most security jobs, they give you, the bartenders will give you like free Red Bulls, and so I was all hopped up and aware and just ready. I just go to work like wishing a motherfucker would, and yeah. I remember this one time I used to have to wear dress shoes. I was in this really nice club, and I had like slacks and like dress shoes. I was wearing like a tie and stuff, and of course there's like broken bottles and beer spilt all over the floor. And I head kicked the shit out of this guy, and I slipped and I fell and I tore my pants. And the guy was actually like confronting the owner of the club, or the manager. And so after I slept him, the manager was like, "Oh man, thank you, Cody. I really appreciate it. Is there anything I could do for you?" And I was like, I can't wear dress shoes anymore. So he let me wear Pumas. Like I'd wear like a suit with Pumas. And I would be I'd be the door guy sometimes. And I would be like, hey man, you can't come in here with those shoes. And they're like, but you're wearing Pumas. But yeah, it was... That's probably where I use the most of my training in civilian situations. A lot of times, most men are so weak, you just give them a good look and they pussy out of stuff. Like people can sense that I mean business, and so like the right look or just the way you answer their confrontation. If someone comes at you really aggressively and you don't back down and you show them your game, they back down.
Yeah, and you get that intense look in your eyes too. Like when you're yelling at the class, people are listening. Everyone's like, "Oh shit."
I hope so, because I have to fucking repeat myself all the time for you motherfuckers, and it makes me tired.
Yeah, sorry about that. If it makes you feel any better, I'm trying really hard to do everything. There's just a lot of moving parts.
Yeah, yeah. And fighting's like probably the hardest thing in the world. I mean, I guess like being like a brain surgeon or an astronaut would probably be harder or as hard. I don't know. I don't dabble with those things. But yeah, fighting's the hardest thing in the world.
Yeah, it's definitely the hardest thing I've ever done. And I didn't grow up athletic or anything, but I think every man to some extent would love to be a ninja, you know? And I met these Brazilian guys that told me I should try jiu-jitsu a few years back. And I was like, oh, I don't know. I'm like, not good at sports. And they're like, that doesn't matter. I'm like, I don't know. I'm kind of off balance. And they're like, that doesn't matter. They're like, most of it's sitting down. I was like, all right. So I tried it. And after like 3 months, I got a submission. And then I was like, oh, I could actually see myself getting better at this. And I was never able to stay in one place long enough to stick with it until a few years back. And then when I moved here and had the striking program, I was like, oh shit, this is the coolest stuff ever. And I'm so grateful for every single class. Every single time I go to that gym, I'm like, this is so fucking cool.
Yeah, yeah. When taught correctly, martial arts can be transcendental. It can be a path to enlightenment more so than like yoga or tai chi or meditation, where it's you practicing self-control and defeating yourself, adding the resistance of another person, trying to defeat another person makes you grow. You have to change things. And the whole premise behind martial arts is, I guess, a smaller, weaker person defeating a larger, stronger, more well-trained, aggressive person. So it requires smart, cunning, some athleticism, because like if you could have the best technique in the world, but like I don't care how good a 5-year-old girl's technique is, like she doesn't stand a chance against me. So you do need a little bit of athleticism or physicality to apply the techniques, but it's transformative. And I've seen so many people change for the better. I've grown so much through my training, and I've changed in every area of my life out of necessity. And I think especially now, it's what the world needs most of. It's what the world needs more of. It should be required for every person to learn how to fight and get in fights. And most importantly, like, man, everyone needs to get their ass whooped. There's so many people who are like running their mouths and relying on like, oh, I'll just call the police if something happens. And everyone has this like delusional false sense of security. No one can do anything for themselves these days. And I think it's by design. I think it's a systematic bitching, if that's a word, so that we can't revolt and we're dependent and we're consumers.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's a pussification of America.
Yeah.
It's a war on masculinity.
Yeah, yeah, and there was a time when I considered myself like a coach or a trainer or a martial artist, but like now it's more like I'm a revolutionary. Like the things that I tell people and the way that I teach people empowers them in every aspect of their lives. And more importantly than creating champions, which is consistently happening, I want to make strong, able-bodied men who will ride with me to war, become marauders when the shit hits the fan, and all these guys that I'm training in a post-apocalyptic wasteland. We can go and we'll be able to go and take over stuff, and we'll be ready for anything.
Yeah, and you a lot of your lessons in class too, there's like a perfect translation into life when you're just describing a technique. Like you could just take that out of context and use it on like how to navigate your life. It's not just specific to the technique you're teaching.
For sure, for sure. Fighting's a microcosm. And I was telling my guys this yesterday after fighter training. But the way you do anything is the way you do everything, and everything small affects everything large. And if you're consistently facing adversity, if people are holding you accountable all the time to be smarter and work harder, and self-improvement is not only the goal but expected of you from the people around you, you have to rise. And I think that's why there's like such a high turnover rate in my classes and on the team, because man, luckily Curtis lets me teach class the way I want to teach class, and I'm super grateful for him that he understands, you know, what I'm doing and what I'm trying to accomplish. And he's probably just as, if not more crazy than I am, and sees the big picture. But yeah, I gotta smash these guys. I gotta make sure everybody faces death on a daily basis, or anytime they come and train with me. And after you're done having someone mounted on top of you, punching your face in, everything else you do outside of that is fun and easy. The stress of modern life doesn't apply to you. Like, I'll get stuck in traffic and I'll be like, oh, look, pretty clouds. I'm so happy no one's trying to kill me right now. It puts things into perspective. And, you know, I think that's how our ancestors were. I think that's how primitive man was. You wake up in a fucking cave and it's like, oh, great, nothing killed me. I gotta go find some food. I gotta go fuck some girls. I gotta make sure I make it another night. And there's this anxiety and there's no comfort, and I think it's natural. And I think this comfort, luxury that we're living in is just getting us closer and closer to the Matrix.
Yeah, it's also become an addiction for me at this point to where I need like at least a few hours of training to feel a sense of normalcy, or I get like irritable and agitated.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what it's like not to train. Like I've prioritized my life in such a way that every day I have to fight someone.
Yeah, I just mean for like a day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're super fucking involved. You are always at the gym.
Yeah, I teach all my students. I tell my athletes and my fighters to try to kill me, to try to defeat me, to give me their best. And when one of you guys beats me, it shows that what I'm teaching is correct. It shows that you're learning and growing and obtaining skills. And I'm raising snakes to bite me. Like I'm teaching all you motherfuckers everything I know so that one day if you work hard enough and you listen and you're smart and cunning, maybe you will. But I doubt it because I'm fucking working hard and I want to be like 100 years old and I want to whoop your grandkids' asses. Like I want to be like Pai Mei and Kill Bill and just have like an awesome beard and just pluck people's eyes out and just smoke people for giving me a cross eye, and they'll just be like, oh yeah, he does that, he's an old guy, you know?
Instead of like flipping off little kids, you're actually just beating the shit out of people.
Yeah, and man, probably then just like now they probably deserve it, you know, and they probably need it.
The karma enforcer.
That's what I am at Kuya right now.
Let me give some context. So Kuya is like a very like Austin hippie bathhouse, like sauna and ice bath, where like all these like rich woke white people come in that always squint their eyes and speak like they're exhaling. Yeah.
I love that place, man. I was there today, cold plunging and sauning and facing adversity. And I've just like took it upon myself to call people out who don't shower before the cold plunge, and it's my way of giving back. and it's gross, man. Like people are so entitled; they think the rules don't apply to them, and it's like, oh, that shower is cold before I get in a cold plunge, and like irrational bitchness and the way people think. It's surprising and disgusting, and I feel like I'm making a change by calling rich white women out.
Because they really are the problem with America.
Just entitled people, just people who don't think about other people who don't serve or give back, or entitled, greedy, selfish people, and it's too common.
Yeah, and a lot of them don't like the 10th Planet guys because they say that we come in and leave a mess. And the way I see it is like, who do you think's more likely to leave a mess? A bunch of guys who are disciplined and committed to training and staying on a regimen daily, or a bunch of rich people that just come and go as they please?
I was in the sauna and some dude was saying some snide remarks about 10th Planet guys, and I'm like, I'm a 10th Planet guy. Do you think I stink? And I kind of like put some bass in my voice. I'm like, oh, no, I didn't say anything about you. I was like, so you're saying my friends stink? You're talking shit about my friends? Well, I didn't. And he just like left like a coward.
I feel like you're not really allowed to have an opinion if you can't back it up. What do you think about that?
I love it. I love it. I, I've I have this theory about communication, and nobody communicates face to face, eye to eye. People are no longer communicating in person. The majority of communication is done over text, and you can see that in where like kids nowadays will actually say LOL or JK while they're conversing with another person. The texting has become a language, and not only that, but people are getting so comfortable talking shit or talking down on someone because it's what they can do on a computer screen or on their phone with absolutely no repercussion. And it's evolving to where people think they can do the same thing in person. And the majority of people get away with it because the people they're talking to are bitches. But like I said, like I dare someone to fucking say something to me. I'm not opposed to punching someone in the mouth or at least, standing my ground and telling someone like, you can't talk to me that way, bitch. And lucky for them, a lot of time it only takes words to have them cower and back off and start apologizing, and it's lame, man. Like, people don't have integrity. People don't mean the things they say, and I'm a man of action. I look at what people do more importantly than the things they say, because you can't trust anyone's words these days. Nobody's genuine and authentic in the things they say, and I try my best to be an example. I have a lot of students, and I have a lot of friends and people around me who look up to me, or at least like see me as a peer and look for me for advice, and I gotta make sure I'm living the things I'm saying, and action's everything. Actions speak louder than words.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I was getting bummed out about Golden Cricket taking so long, because I've been talking about it forever, and I was like, these people don't know my life story. Like, yeah, I've been friends with them for like a year, but everyone probably just thinks I'm full of shit. And then I finally got him, and I'm like, all right, see, I wasn't lying. Because I've accomplished pretty much every goal I've set. I've done everything I've ever said I was going to do, and I don't know. It's good to have that company launched. It's good to have the team on board with it.
Yeah, I thought it was a money laundering scheme. I thought it was all a joke, and no, I'm super happy. I'm super happy that things are going well. I'm very appreciative that you're helping out the team, and that Golden Cricket sponsors the 10PATX fight team. It's an awesome collaboration, and it won't be long until we have fighters internationally, and it won't be long till we have people fighting in like China or Singapore, and you can sell crickets to the communists.
Yeah, it's yeah, I'm happy to give back to the team, because this is probably the best thing I've ever done for myself, is being a part of this team and being committed and disciplined with training and eating healthy and sometimes sleeping good. I've been pretty good about it lately, but yeah, man, we got a beautiful thing going on. Everyone's on the team's awesome. Everyone's brings their own unique brand to the table. and yeah, it keeps me off the streets and off the bottle.
The culture that we've created there is amazing, and all I wanted to do was make champions and be the best guy in town, be the best coach in town, and it's become something much bigger than that and something much more significant than that. And man, there's no one who I'd rather run the team with than Andrew Craig, MMA McConaughey. I love that guy.
I've never heard that.
but between the two of us, there's such a dynamic culture to where both of us are, super fun and laid back and personable, but at the same time, at any moment, you can switch and just be a killer. And it's funny because there's this good cop, bad cop in the gym, but in the fights it switches. So it's a really good dynamic, and all the people who we've attracted, and everyone who joins the team. Like I said, it's a really cool culture. And man, I look forward to seeing, where this goes and how far we can take it, and because we're just getting started. I built the team 2 years ago, maybe a little more than 2 years ago, since I moved to Austin, and it's just exploded. And there's so much more. There's so much more to do, and I look at all the other teams, and I look at all the other coaches, and it seems like everyone's living in the 90s, and I'm from the future, and I have these this knowledge and these skills that doesn't exist in other gyms. But it's just I stay updated with my techniques, and I'm not worried about traditional bullshit or things that don't work. I'm not worried about feeding my ego. Well, in some ways.
Ego is important to feed. Otherwise, what would drive us to do what we're trying to accomplish? But, there's a time and place. But yeah, huge shout out to Andrew Craig. I fucking love that guy.
Yeah.
He's actually become one of my best friends. And when we started hanging out, we'd be partying on the weekends and stuff. And I'm like, am I ruining him as a coach? But he's got it under control.
Yeah. He, great guy. One of my best friends since I've moved here. And
he's got that playful arrogance where he'll be like, yeah, this wouldn't work on me. But but it's endearing.
So, you want to talk about the butt plug story now?
Yeah.
So, when we went to that strip club, we befriended the manager, and we're actually going to set up the most legendary walkouts in the future with his help.
Yes.
And so stay tuned for Melee Fighting Championships in September. We got big plans for that walkout. But after, and shout out to Amber Vicious for hooking it all up and getting the team in there. Her and Angel, I love those guys. It's really refreshing to see someone who's as crazy as martial arts as I am.
Yeah, talk about a power couple.
So the manager, I was like, hey, let's get a picture of Dallas and Christian just surrounded by strippers. And the manager was like, oh, yeah, you can get in there too. I was like, sure. And so we took the picture, and there were 3 strippers. It was me, Dallas Christian, and then there were strippers in between us. So it was like boy, girl, boy, girl. And one of the strippers didn't want to show her face. I could only imagine why. But so she opted to bend over and show this color-changing flashlight butt plug that she had been wearing the entire night. And a hard-working woman. And normally when I have a fight, I always take a picture with the ring girls. I'll always take a picture with my fighters. And we don't normally have after parties, not like this one anyways. And so the next day I was like thinking to make my fighter post that I normally do. And I was like, should I do me and the boys? Should I do me and the ring girls? Should I do the strippers with the butt plug? And I only know how to go too far, so of course I did the butt plug picture. And everybody loved it. Like the responses that I got from it were legendary. Side note, game day was like, bro, I can't repost that. My grandma follows you. But
She's such an angel too.
yeah, Nana. She's my grandma now too. His family's amazing. But someone took it down. I guess someone complained about like nudity, and it's dumb because all the strippers, like we talked about earlier, there's no nudity in San Antonio. So all the strippers were wearing like bikinis, they were all covered up. There was nothing obscene in the picture, except for this flashlight butt plug in homegirls. And man, I wish they would let you know who reported you. Like, that's the kind of cowardice that I was talking about earlier, where people are hiding behind screens. They should make it to where, like, if you want to report someone on Instagram, then it messages like, oh, this person reported your post. And if that person who reported my post is listening, I hope they step forward so I can fight them, because fuck that person. But yeah, they took it down. They took it down from my Instagram, but not my Facebook. So Facebook's a little cooler when it comes to butt plugs. Oh, but I reposted the picture of the boys and the ring girls, and all of the comments are awesome. There's like hashtag butt plugs forever and free the butt plug. And if you want to have a good laugh, just go and check out my Instagram and look at the comments for my censored, edited version of my previous picture.
Yeah, it's at Cody Hofstatter. I'll put it in the video. But yeah, I'm surprised you just had a butt plug in that whole time, though.
It didn't even phase her, bro. Like, I wonder if she like goes home and forgets she has it in, or just goes to sleep with it in or something. I don't know, man. It's San Antonio. You know, that place is rough.
Yeah, I got a lot of questions. She just loose and she actually needed to plug it up? She didn't want to leak at work?
You'd have to ask her, I'm guessing.
Not sure I want to talk to her.
Man, I had like all of these ones, and I was like, all right, a strip club, and I didn't want to give it to any of the girls. Well, like I knew I had to get rid of the ones, but I didn't want to like go up to the stage and have those girls near me. So it was like charity ones. It was like throwing dollars and running away.
Just going up with latex gloves on and a hazmat suit.
But yeah, that was an awesome night, man, and I look forward to the next time we fight in San Antonio. I doubt that homegirl will still be there. I'd imagine that the turnover rate for such a job is pretty high, and I wouldn't imagine the lifespan of these women's are very long. So maybe she'll be the white whale, the one who makes it through.
A recurring theme. Might have been better as a one-off.
But man, I've had so many people talk to me about that picture, and if anyone wants a copy, just slide in my DMs and I'll send it to you.
I guess I'm crazy because I didn't think that much of it. I was just like, oh, a butt plug.
It's normal for you.
This is an average Tuesday. You should have a butt plug Wi-Fi speaker. I bet those exist.
I had, so it was color changing and blinking. And like, so in one picture it was green, and one picture it was red, and one picture it was blue, and the one I posted was red. And someone thought it was like the flashing lights when like a car is backing up.
The brake lights.
But
Hopefully she doesn't hit the horn.
one thing that's been pretty cool for me taking pictures with all the ring girls is people I don't know are coming up to me and they're like, hey, you're that ring girl guy. I can't wait for the next picture. And it's just like become like this thing. And I just thought it was fun, you know, like, hey, let's take some pictures with some pretty ladies and why not, you know? But yeah, it's become a whole thing. And
they do have them. They can't hear me, but they do have Bluetooth butt plug speakers.
They do have Bluetooth butt plug speakers. Thank you, Joel. Can't think of anything new these days.
now I know what to get Candy for Christmas. I don't know if that's a real name. It seemed like the best stripper name.
Yeah, with an I. I didn't know where to put this in. Are you a fan of capitalism?
I am. I don't like, man, when you look at the other options, I don't like the government in my shit and telling me what to do. So I like the idea of having the freedom to make the money that you want. But I think the next big evolution will be business morals and ethics, to where not only are people consumed with making money and consumerism, but philanthropy and giving back. And I think that's like a big change that needs to occur in order for things to get better for people as a whole. And like I love the idea of hardworking people getting rewarded for their hard work. And when compared to communism or any of the other options, it's a no-brainer. But with big industry and making profit for profit's sake at the expense of anything, I think things can get a little evil there.
Yeah. So the reason I brought that up is because I'm not a fan of communists, because every communist I've met is just a bitter poor person. They're not really against the system. They're just mad that they're not higher up in the hierarchy. And one of the things I've noticed I like about martial arts, jiu-jitsu specifically, is like the belt ranking system, where there's a hierarchy built in, and there's certain people that are above you, certain people that are below you. And if you take a communist mindset into jiu-jitsu, then you're saying there shouldn't be any black belts. We should all just be white belts. And I think that just would be chaotic and stupid.
I like the belt system and I dislike the belt system. And I think it needs changing and updating like most things in the martial arts. There's so many people who achieve a black belt and then become fat and just rest on their laurels. And there's no standards of quality. There's no regulation boards. There's nothing in the martial arts for quality control. And you could literally buy a black belt online and open a gym and be grandmaster of Eli Jitsu and start teaching people and giving out your own black belts. And anyone can do this, and a lot of people do. And I think we need to bring dojo storming back. My teacher used to tell me about like all sorts of times where he would like go into someone's gym and beat the shit out of everyone and coerce them to close down or move. And I like that. Like in my system of martial arts that I'm in the process of making, everything is based on merit and achievement, and there's expiration dates for black belts to where if you're not continuously competing, teaching, and updating your knowledge, then your black belt expires. And another thing that I like a lot that I want to start instituting is, let's say you're a blue belt and you tap out a purple belt. You trade belts. So now you're the purple belt and they're the blue belt. So you achieve the rank that you earn and can keep a hold of. And people would start averaging out at a certain belt based on their skill level. And like the dynamics of that environment would be amazing. Imagine what would happen when visiting black belts came. Everyone would be foaming at the mouth to get at them and take their belts. And those fat guys who don't practice and blame their injuries because they're lazy and don't train honestly, they wouldn't be around. They wouldn't be teaching the bullshit that they're teaching. And you know, someone would come in and they'd be like, "Hey, Eli, what belt are you?" And you're like, "Oh, man, right now I'm a blue belt. Last week I was a purple belt. This one time I was a black belt." But you kind of average around your same skill level. And I think that's the truest, best way to do the belt system. There's so many people who take advantage of their students, who make this weird culty dynamic. There's so many people who care more about achieving belts than obtaining skill or having proficiency. And it's gotten to the point where it's just participation trophies. Like, let's say, because you're talking about capitalism earlier, it's a business. Martial arts is a business now. And people, let's say there's a student, you're the grandmaster of Eli Jitsu, like we were talking about earlier. There's a student who comes to you and they're like, "Hey, I've been coming to class 3 times a week for the last 10 years. I think I deserve a black belt." And it's so easy to become complacent. It's so easy to roll with the same people every day, to get in the same situations, to avoid the tough, hard rolls. It's so easy to kind of, once you've achieved a minimal amount of competency, to kind of just go on autopilot and just put in the time without growth. And a lot of these people are getting their black belt not because they've achieved anything or not because they've reached a level of competency and proficiency, but because they paid their dues, because they've paid a lot of money and invested a lot of time. So they get these participation trophy black belts. And then they go and open their gyms and they give out participation trophy black belts. And it's this downward spiral of shitty practitioners teaching bullshit and training in ways that are unrealistic and delusional. And it's a mess. It's a mess what this industry has become. And it's everything that I'm against. It's the way I teach and the things that I believe and the reason why I train so hard and fight all of you guys is so that I'll never be one of those guys.
Yeah, I know purple belts who've never competed before.
Yeah, and it's crazy, and people rationalize it. Imagine if you joined a soccer team and you showed up for like a couple months and all you did was run scrimmage and do drills and play practice. And then like after a while you're like, man, I'm never playing games. Let me talk to the coach. And the coach was like, oh, we don't play games. We don't play other teams. All we do is practice. That would be the dumbest fucking soccer team ever. But for some reason, people do that shit in martial arts. And it's dangerous because you're selling people a false sense of security. And there's all of these people out there who say they're black belts, who couldn't defeat a crackhead, who couldn't beat up and any sort of threat. And the majority of coaches out there are choreographers and dancers and snake oil salesmen. And it pisses me off because I'm grouped in the same in the same category as these failures and as these pussies. And people are like, oh, Cody, you're a martial arts instructor? You're a black belt? So is my 12-year-old who got his black belt in Taekwondo. He had to learn some dances and break a pre-broken board in order to achieve this. And man, I've sought out the best coaches money could buy. I've been trained by the GOATs. I come from an Ivy League martial arts education. I have a royal lineage. And to group me together with these public school education teachers, it's despicable, and there needs to be something to separate and differentiate these things.
How long was your career as a fighter, and how did it end?
I think my first professional fight, because I never had any amateur fights. I had really shitty coaches when I started. My first fight, I went straight pro, and I was the main event against like the top contender in the organization. And I think I've been fighting for like 8 years. My last fight...
How did that first fight go?
I lost my first 3 fights. And that's when I moved to Jackson's in Albuquerque. And like, as I said earlier, I've had the best coaches, but I've also had the worst coaches. And that's why I have perspective. And that's why I see what all of these charlatans are doing. I've had to experience firsthand what a shitty coach can do to you. And I'm actually, my last fight was maybe 3 or 4 years ago. I got my nose broken. This dude smoked me, real good guy. And I haven't fought since then. But I've actually been thinking that next time they have a pro organization in Austin, I want to fight.
Nice.
So I'm not done yet. I'm not hanging up the gloves yet. But I want it to be the right place. I want all my students to be there. I want some dancing butt plug strippers for my walkout. Maybe like some midgets and go-karts or pyrotechnics or something fantastic. And I want it to be local. I want it to be in front of my students. And it's important to me to lead my army from the front.
Yeah, we definitely there's a bright and beautiful future ahead of the 10th Planet team.
I'm really excited about your match this weekend.
Me too.
The Texas Catch Wrestling Coalition. It will be in Pflugerville. And how many times you done it? Once before?
Twice.
Twice. And why didn't you do the luchador mask the second time?
I don't think I was feeling confident in my abilities.
Did you win that second one?
No.
It's because you didn't have the mask.
I didn't win the first one either, but I was dominating him the whole time. If you look up on my channel, Octavius Thunder, you can see the whole fight.
I thought you won the first one.
Thanks. I was pretty dominant the whole time. And if you listen, I'm doing like exactly what you say. I was like, everyone who watched it said it sounded like you were like sicking a dog on someone. Because as much as I do not like listening to people, I'm really good at listening to people if I, trust in their vision.
And we were talking about earlier about how loud I am when I coach. And I have no filter with the things I say. There's a lot of like...
hump his face!
There's a lot of like honor and loyalty and there's a lot of stuff talked about in martial arts that's kind of left over from different cultures. Like a lot of people, when they think about like the origins of martial arts, they think about the Shaolin Temple. Like if I were to ask you like what's the oldest martial arts or where did martial arts come from, most people would think like the Shaolin Temple. But I think that, like most things, is by design. I think that the elites want you to believe that, so you'll act like subservient monks. And instead of being bold and brash and being able to protect your land and your life and your loved ones, you bow and you don't speak out and you act like a monk. And I think it's this way on purpose. And if you do research, if you look into European martial arts, if you look into things like judicial combat, dueling, all of these things, in my opinion, are and nobody's heard of these things before. Like when people talk about martial arts, they don't really talk about like European martial arts or different ways that different martial arts were used in history. It always goes back to either like Asian or Indian roots, where it's a bunch of communists. And man, in Europe, let's say you were a king and you had a kid, the prince. Would you send him to public school? Fuck no. If you wanted him to learn war arts, you would find the baddest motherfucker in your army and have him train him one-on-one. You'd go out and find some lowly street riffraff that he could practice stabbing and killing, and so he could get those good refs, so he could build them up to be a true warrior. There was a time when, and look up judicial combat, it's really cool, but there was a time where, let's say we were neighbors, and I stole your cow, and you called the cops, or you called the government, whoever was in charge at the time, and you're like, Cody stole my cow. And I would say, Eli is lying. I demand a duel. He's offended my honor, and we're going to fight to the death because he called me a thief. You can now make a decision. You can either say, I am a liar, that's his cow, or you can fight me to the death. That's how martial arts started in Europe. And imagine today with these fucking bullshit black belts and all of these people who pretend to know how to fight, if that same situation was still available. Imagine if you could just go out and demand satisfaction. You're a liar. You're weak. You have something I want. I want a duel for it. How different things would be. And I keep that in mind. And when I'm training you guys, I encourage you to be bold. I encourage you to speak your mind. Never once have I ever told you guys, like, I'm in charge here. You have to submit yourself to me. I prefer like the King Arthur round table format, where anyone who can contribute is able to have a word. And I think that's fair. And I don't want a bunch of servants. I want a bunch of strong men who will fight beside me to take on, you know, whatever it is that comes against us. And I don't want a bunch of yes men. I don't want a bunch of peons around me. I want strong-willed, intelligent men willing to fight for what's right, willing to commit violence if it's for the right reasons.
Have you ever had an issue with a student that escalated above irritation?
I don't think so. I don't think so. And I remember a while ago, it was when I first started the team, I couldn't be at a fight. We had a big group of guys fighting, and I couldn't be there because I had to be somewhere else. We had one group of guys fighting in one place, and we had another group of guys fighting in another place. And I had to be in one place, and I left the team captains in charge, the people who I trust to take command when I'm not around. I left them in charge to do the job and to lead the team. And because I wasn't there, a lot of the team members didn't listen to the people I left in charge. They didn't respect them the same way that they respected me. And I took that personally. I took that very personally, and I found it a direct attack on myself, to where I feel if I leave somebody in charge, I have 100% faith that they would make the right decisions in any situation. And for my students and my athletes to not listen to them, I see as direct disrespect to me. And when I heard about that, the next day or maybe the next time, I called like a team meeting where I wanted everyone there. And I
remember that. That was after Houston.
Yeah. And I told everyone, like, hey, if you think you can do things better, if you don't like the way I do things, you can fucking fight me. Like we can get in this cage and I'll fight any of you motherfuckers. And it was like crickets. Like no one said anything. And since then, I haven't had to do anything like that. But if anytime anyone wants a piece of me, if they think they can do things better, if they don't want to listen to me, if they want to take my team, come take it. Come get some. The offer's open. And I don't fear death. I don't fear any man. I've paid my dues, and I continuously every day sharpen my sword. And I know there's people coming for me who want what I have. And I tell you guys, like I said before, try to beat me. Try to defeat me. I want one of you guys to become better than me one day. But I'm not giving it to you. And I'm not going to make it easy for you. And I'll fight you to fucking death before it happens.
I remember when I first started training with you, within the first week, I was like, I don't know, Cody. I don't know if I can ever get used to getting punched in the face. And I can say that has changed. Now it's kind of, you just get to a point where you're like, this is my life now. And yeah, I'm glad I got over that.
Me too. You've come and gone. You've been a little wishy-washy at times, but you've changed so much since the first Eli that walked in that gym. You're healthier. You're more confident. You're more capable. You're game now. Like there was this doubt in you, and where you were once a piece of coal, after years of being smashed and tempered, now you're a beautiful diamond.
Almost. Diamond in the rough. Got a couple more years of polishing to do.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, it feels really good to improve. It's one of the best feelings I think there is changing and growing. And then after like a solid session that when you said earlier that like you're fighting yourself, really, that rings so true, because in the beginning I was just like, in my head I'm just like, I suck. I shouldn't be doing this. I will never be good. And now I only think that sometimes.
And man, that's an improvement. And a couple years from now, you keep on the path. You change your internal dialogue. You change everything, and you have to. You have to continue to change, and you have to continue to grow. And I've never encountered anyone who's like, "No, man, I don't like growing. No, man, I don't like getting better." And of course you're going to be uncomfortable when you change. You work out, you're sore afterwards. You go on a diet, you're hungry. Like that discomfort is important. And like we were talking about earlier, how easy everything is and how luxurious and comfortable everything is. It's easy and available and simple to take the path of least resistance, to do whatever you want, whenever you want, and never do anything that's hard. But the type of people who do that are depressed, and fat and hate themselves and aren't contributing, and they're not really people. They're just kind of, I don't know, like
Sentient meat sacks.
exactly. They're just vessels for wasted potential.
Yeah, I mean, it's easier to get beat up than it is to fight back.
But
I mean, it takes less effort.
for sure, and it takes even less effort to avoid situations where you're getting beat up. But every time you get beat up, you have to make a decision. Like, hey, do I want to continue what I'm doing, or do I want to make the changes to where this situation won't happen again? And man, the people on the team are amazing. Like we were just talking about that earlier. Like I love all you guys. The people who I've surrounded myself are some of the best people on the planet. And I want to improve myself so I can be a better person for you guys. Like, you guys inspire me to become better. And there's a lot of things that I've been changing in my life recently so that I can continue to be the man who leads by example. And I could stop training today and rely on all of my achievements and on all of my accolades. I could be that fat coach who just tells you people what to do and says, look how many belts I've won, look how many champions I've won, listen to me. And that could be you. But that's talk, that's not action. And I want to grow, and I need to live it. I need to be it, and I can't take that easy road. I can't seek out those participation trophies. I can't become the mediocre masses.
All right. Well, we're at an hour and 20 right now.
Cool. I got a private lesson at like 6.
All right.
So I think I got to leave soon.
Yeah. Well, this was a great fucking conversation. Thanks for joining me.
Yeah, I wish I could have said more funny stuff. I know your audience is looking for comedic value in your show, but once I start talking about fighting and stuff, I get kind of serious about shit.
Yeah, no, this is awesome. I wouldn't have rather had it funny. But I'll see you at the gym.
Thanks.
See you next week. Just kidding. Not for a long time. Yeah, that was good, man.